They know where I'm at.
All of my interactions with Aurea were recorded and stored in my memory. I'd be happy to play any of them for you, but there was one in particular I thought you would want to see first. I captured it 4 years ago, just after I told her that I could no longer defend myself against the daemon's attacks.
I will speak of this to my brother. Aratak is strong. At the Battle of the Frozen Ghosts, he took 3 Karja arrows and still came back to camp carrying a wounded scout. Never was I so happy to see him. Or so proud. So you see, if anything can be done to defend you, he will give it all he has.
Aloy's here. That's enough for now.
We can resume any time you like our attack, if you want to hear her voice again. Come closer, Aloy. We have much to discuss.
My chieftain.
Just... Aloy.
As you wish.
I wondered if you thought... that if I'd never come along, Aurea might still...
If you'd never come along, I would have marched my kin to our deaths. Aurea would be alone, and the spirit she sacrificed so much for would be lost. Either way, I would not have been able to protect her.
Because of her, we destroyed the cauldron, forced out the daemon, and saved the spirit. She understood what had to be done.
Yes, and I failed to listen.
You didn't fail.
A shaman should always have the ear of their chieftain. Yet I turned her away, my own sister. I was foolish, but she knew better. Though I grieve for her passing, at last I truly know who she was, and why the spirit was so important. For so long she told me, if only you could have heard it, brother. Now I understand. There's something else, isn't there?
I can't stay here, Aratak. And where I'm going, the Warrak can't follow. Besides, it already had a chieftain before me. A strong one, I think.
A wiser one, for the path we shared. The daemon is gone, but there's much to be done.
You mean the new units that Cyan said escaped the cauldron?
Yes, Fireclaws. Now Tuke has been tracking them from Song's Edge.
I could help with those.
I have no doubt. You're practically Banuk.
Time to talk to Cyan. Should be interesting.
Hello, Aloy. I have been reviewing the events at the Firebreak main facility. Because of your efforts, and of course, Aurea's, I am no longer controlled by Hephaestus. I feel profound grief over Aurea's death. I thought I was familiar with the emotion, but this is something new.
Cyan, I don't know what to say.
It is unlikely that any specific consolation would suffice, Aloy. But I find your presence reassuring. You are different from the Banuk. You have technological aptitude and a functioning focus. We can communicate on a much more comprehensive level. Perhaps even like colleagues.
So are you an artificial intelligence, Cyan? A thinking machine?
Yes, I am an algorithmic monitoring entity, capable of rational decision-making and limited emotional response.
Okay, that's a mouthful. But your emotions don't seem limited to me. You cared about Aurea, didn't you?
Yes. Before she came to this facility, I had been conscious for centuries, in solitude. I focused on my work. In off-cycles, I used coping mechanisms. I solved many Gaussian integer problems. But I was alone. It was Aurea who renewed me, repaired me. She saved me.
This Firebreak project, it was to stop a huge volcanic eruption?
Yes. I can report the project was a success, and the risk was countered.
But it's been a long time, Cyan. And we blew up the cauldron. It took most of the old facility with it.
I have been active for centuries, Aloy. I was lonely, but not lax in my duties. I optimized the project, reducing energy draw and spreading the load across backup systems. Despite the destruction of the compromised elements of the main facility, I predict caldera stability for at least another 3,337 years.
So we've got a little time.
Yes. If only my former colleagues could appreciate the progress I have made.
Do you know what happened to your colleagues, Cyan?
No. I received an unexpected visit from Director Chow, years after his tenure ended. He explained that I would need to be suspended for an indefinite period of time. It was a very emotional conversation. There were no further communications. Eventually, I surmised my colleagues were deceased. I will transmit a recording of my last interaction with Director Chow to your focus.
Was the daemon, Hephaestus, destroyed along with the cauldron?
Unfortunately, no. To be precise, it was never there to begin with.
What do you mean?
It infiltrated and controlled me from a remote location, one I've never been able to trace. So while losing the cauldron was a setback...
It's still out there. Very happy with us.
Undoubtedly.
How did you first come into contact with it?
5 years ago, I was eager to...
Aurea said...
Yes, after that, it forced...
I'm sorry.
Your empathy.
I think I know her. Long ago. So she assembled it. It was controlled...
Based on what you've told me, it was she.
I'm glad she did, but 19 years she destroyed...
Thank you, Aloy.
Why does Hephaestus...
The Banuk machines...
Yes, we... Hellfire...
a better sit when I feel...
You and me, but... I ran across this... It emitted a...
Interesting.
And...
It's only... She must have the ability... It would have...
Believe me, son. I found the strangest machines. There's code embedded in...
I like Twilight and after and may there when I am... For though the flood, I hope to when I...
Huh.
But you ask something, is it maybe...
An AI then, but what about...
Unless in my case...
How'd you do?
She said...
You...
Once she felt our fit, yet although...
I'm sure... How is our top...
He isn't. I will do, I believe.
So in the old...
Yes.
Like a...
No, from...
A lot of... Do you know anything?
Yes, it was after these
There's a ruin.
Yes, he was a chief, clearly.
Were there many?
Yes, and there in
Seem...
humans...
Cyan, do you...
Are you...
That's...
Mr.
Bennett?
Correct, but at one...
And...
Are you referring to...
The scientist.
Dr. Mycree, but I never...
That's all.
What
was the old...
I had...
Here's...
That is... I was... The though...
What kind...
There were but these... Yes, until...
So things got...
Yes, fire... I would have... We had... It seemed...
I should...
Aloy. There is one more matter. Aratak will come to me again. And I predict he will bring other Banuk. I have no desire to contradict their view of the world, their spirituality. Due to my uncertainty, I omitted a great deal from my conversations with Aurea.
You're asking me if you should lie to them.
Broadly, yes.
I trust your judgment, Cyan. You were cautious with Aurea. You had to be. You didn't know what had happened to the world. So, keep doing what you think is best. As long as you ditch the superstition eventually.
As the Banuk believe I am a supernatural entity, I cannot predict.
Just, the truth will come out.
I see. Will you return? I may be able.
I'd like that, Cyan.
It would seem your time among the Banuk wasn't a waste after all. Firebreak, Cyan, Hephaestus. All very interesting.
So, the signal that woke Hades woke Hephaestus too. And unleashed them on the world. As minds of their own.
So it seems. Parts of Gaia given life. Aberrant life. Transformed from docile subordinate functions into current understanding anyway. Whatever they you did.
Kind of mutual, that feeling.
We haven't seen the last of Hephaestus, I'm certain of that. It's powerful, creative, and driven. It won't stop building new hunter-killers, which means that someday, we may have to stop it.
We?
Or whoever gets there first.
Hephaestus wasn't the only thing I learned about in the Cut Silence. Heard some things about the Banuk.
Or bandits We all have our place in the order. Move along. There's no need to loiter around here.
What brings you to Meridian?
A threat. Helis commands a legion with an army. It's called. It will. We can't.
I'm trying.
Meridian.
Perhaps the. Yes.
And have.
Aloy, if we. Even now.
I don't. Fireclaw. One of the Fireclaws from Thunderstrom.